There is an old saying in Chinese medicine that has been passed down for over 1,000 years: death begins in the legs. And before you think that sounds dramatic, doctors in the modern world are now saying the exact same thing, just in different words. When your legs get weak, when the muscles in your lower body start to break down, when circulation slows and the blood stops moving the way it should, your entire body starts to follow. Your heart works harder, your brain gets less oxygen, your organs have to pick up the slack, and most people don't even feel it happening until it's already been going on for years. But here's the part that most health videos won't tell you. Your legs don't weaken because you stopped going to the gym. They weaken because of what you are, or more importantly, what you are not eating. And there are 6 specific foods that act like fuel for your leg muscles, your circulation, your joints, and your overall longevity, that most people are completely ignoring right now. Some of these foods are so ordinary that you probably have them in your kitchen right now and you had no idea what they were actually doing for your body. And some of them might surprise you. But stick around, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand something about your own body that most people never learn, and it might be the most important thing you hear all year. Let's start with why the legs matter so much, because I know some of you are sitting there thinking, it's just legs. Why are we making such a big deal about this? Here is the thing. Your legs contain the largest muscles in your entire body. The quadriceps, the hamstrings, the glutes, the calves. These aren't small groups of muscles that only matter when you're running or playing sports. These muscles are constantly working, even when you're standing still. They pump blood back up toward your heart, they regulate your body temperature. They store a massive amount of the glucose your body uses for energy. And when those muscles start to deteriorate, which happens slowly, quietly, often starting in your 30s and accelerating in your 40s and 50s, everything else starts to go with them. Studies have shown that leg muscle weakness is one of the strongest predictors of early death. Not just death from accidents or falls, though that's a real concern too, but death from heart disease, from stroke, from metabolic disorders. Researchers have found that people with weaker leg muscles have a much higher chance of experiencing cardiovascular events, because weak leg muscles mean poor circulation, and poor circulation means your heart is always under stress, always working overtime just to keep things moving. And then there's something called sarcopenia. That's the clinical term for the gradual loss of muscle mass that comes with aging. Most people have never heard of this word, but sarcopenia affects hundreds of millions of people worldwide. And once it starts, if you don't actively fight it, it picks up speed. You lose strength, you lose balance, you lose independence. And the research is clear. It dramatically shortens your life. The scariest part? You can't always feel it happening. You might think you're just a little more tired than you used to be, a little stiffer in the mornings, a little slower getting up from the couch. But underneath that, something much more serious is unfolding. Now, here is the good news. Food is one of the most powerful tools you have to fight back. Not medication, not expensive supplements, not complicated exercise programs. Just the right foods, eaten consistently, over time. And these 6 foods are at the top of that list. Food number 1, eggs. I want to start with eggs because there is so much confusion around this food, and I want to clear it up once and for all. For decades, people were told to avoid eggs because of cholesterol. Doctors warned about them. Nutritionists told people to cut them out, and an entire generation grew up thinking eggs were bad for them. But the science has done a full reversal on this. Eggs are one of the most complete sources of protein that exists in nature. One egg contains all 9 essential amino acids. That means the building blocks your muscles need to repair themselves, to grow, and to stay strong as you age. You cannot build or maintain muscle without adequate protein. And eggs deliver that protein in a form your body can absorb and use almost immediately. But that's not even the most important thing about eggs when it comes to leg health and longevity. Eggs contain something called leucine, a specific amino acid that acts almost like a trigger for muscle protein synthesis. In simple terms, leucine tells your body to start building and repairing muscle tissue. Without enough leucine in your diet, even if you're eating other protein sources, your body might not get the signal it needs to actually use that protein for muscle repair. And beyond the protein, eggs are rich in vitamin D, which plays a direct role in muscle function. Low vitamin D is associated with muscle weakness and has been linked to higher rates of falls and fractures in older adults. Eggs are also loaded with B vitamins that support your nervous system, and your nervous system is what tells your muscles when to contract and how hard to work. 2 or 3 whole eggs a day is what many researchers now consider optimal for muscle health. Not just egg whites, the whole egg, because a lot of the most important nutrients are in the yolk. Food number 2, beets. This one surprises people. But once you understand the science behind beets, you are going to look at this vegetable very differently. Beets are one of the best natural sources of something called dietary nitrates. And nitrates, once inside your body, get converted into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a molecule that causes your blood vessels to relax and expand, a process called vasodilation. Why does that matter for your legs? Because wider blood vessels mean more blood flow. More blood flow means more oxygen delivered to your leg muscles. More oxygen means those muscles can work harder, recover faster, and stay healthier for longer. Athletes have known about this for years. There's a reason beet juice became popular in professional sports, because studies showed it could improve endurance and reduce the oxygen cost of exercise. But this isn't just useful for athletes. For regular people, especially as they age, better blood flow to the legs means everything. Poor circulation in the legs is one of the early signs of cardiovascular disease. It shows up as coldness, numbness, cramps, or a feeling of heaviness in the lower body. Beets, along with foods like spinach, arugula, and celery, which also contain nitrates, help keep those blood vessels open and working the way they should. And beyond circulation, beets contain betalains, the pigments that give them their deep red color, which have strong anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Chronic inflammation is one of the main drivers of muscle breakdown and joint deterioration. Beets work against that inflammation at a cellular level. Roast them, juice them, eat them in a salad, or just slice them raw. The form doesn't matter as much as the consistency. Make beets a regular part of your diet, and your legs will thank you for it. Food number 3. Sardines. I know. Most people hear sardines and immediately make a face. But stay with me, because this small fish might be one of the most powerful foods you can eat for long-term leg health and overall longevity. Sardines are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-3s do something incredibly important for your muscles. They reduce inflammation at the cellular level. Every time you use your muscles, whether you're walking, climbing stairs, or exercising, you create microscopic damage in those muscle fibers. That's normal. That's how muscles get stronger. But if your body can't repair that damage efficiently because of chronic inflammation, those muscles break down faster than they can be rebuilt. Omega-3s help manage that inflammation. They help your body repair muscle tissue more efficiently. And they also improve blood flow by reducing the stickiness of platelets and supporting healthy blood vessels, which goes directly back to circulation in the legs. But sardines have something that most other fish don't. They are eaten whole, including the bones. And those tiny, soft, edible bones are one of the richest sources of calcium you can find in any food. Calcium isn't just for your teeth. It's essential for muscle contraction. Every single time a muscle in your body contracts, including your heart, it requires calcium to do so. Without enough calcium, your muscles cramp, spasm, and fatigue faster. Sardines also contain coenzyme Q10, which supports cellular energy production, and they are loaded with vitamin B12, a nutrient that many people are deficient in, especially as they get older, which is directly linked to muscle weakness and fatigue. 1 or 2 cans of sardines a week is enough to make a meaningful difference. If the taste is a barrier, try them on whole grain crackers with a little mustard or lemon juice. The flavor is much milder than most people expect. Food number 4, sweet potatoes. When your legs feel weak and heavy and you find yourself getting tired faster than you should, one of the things you might be missing is potassium. Potassium is an electrolyte. That means it helps conduct electrical signals in your body. And those electrical signals are what make your muscles fire. Without enough potassium, your muscles don't contract properly. You get cramps, you get fatigue, you get that heavy, lead-like feeling in your lower body that makes it hard to push through even basic physical activity. Sweet potatoes are one of the single richest sources of potassium in any food. One medium sweet potato contains more potassium than a banana, which is the food most people associate with potassium. But sweet potatoes bring more than just potassium. They are rich in complex carbohydrates, which is the primary fuel source for your muscles during any kind of activity. Not simple sugars that spike your blood sugar and crash it. Complex carbs that release energy slowly and steadily, keeping your muscles fueled for longer periods. They also contain beta-carotene, which your body converts to vitamin A. Vitamin A plays a role in the health of the cells lining your blood vessels, which again feeds directly back into circulation and leg health. And sweet potatoes are high in fiber, which supports gut health. And there is growing research showing that gut health has a direct impact on muscle health through something called the gut-muscle axis. Your gut microbiome influences how efficiently your body absorbs protein and other nutrients your muscles need. Eat them baked, boiled, mashed, or roasted. They are one of the most versatile and nutrient-dense foods on the planet, and they should be a staple in anyone's diet who is serious about keeping their lower body strong as they age. Food number 5, walnuts. There is a reason walnuts have been associated with brain health for so long. The omega-3 fatty acids, the antioxidants, the vitamin E. But walnuts are just as powerful for your legs and your cardiovascular system as they are for your brain. Walnuts contain alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 that has been shown to reduce inflammation, improve endothelial function, which means the health of the inner lining of your blood vessels, and lower the risk of arterial stiffness. Arterial stiffness is a major risk factor for cardiovascular disease, but it also directly affects blood flow to the legs. When your arteries become stiff and less flexible, which happens gradually with age, especially with poor diet, your heart has to pump harder to push blood through, and the lower extremities, which are farthest from the heart, are often the first to suffer. Walnuts also contain magnesium, which is one of the most underappreciated minerals for muscle health. Magnesium is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in your body, and one of its most critical roles is in muscle relaxation. Calcium causes muscles to contract. Magnesium causes them to relax. Without enough magnesium, your muscles stay in a state of low-level tension, which leads to cramps, fatigue, and over time, accelerated muscle breakdown. Studies have shown that people who eat walnuts regularly have significantly better cardiovascular markers, lower levels of inflammatory proteins in their blood, and better cognitive function, which makes sense, because the same blood flow that feeds your brain also feeds your legs. A small handful of walnuts a day, about an ounce, is enough. Don't overdo it, because they are calorie-dense. But eaten in the right amount, consistently, they are one of the most protective foods you can add to your daily routine. Food number 6, lentils. The last food on this list is one of the oldest foods in human history, and for good reason. Lentils are a legume, a bean, and they pack an extraordinary amount of protein, fiber, iron, and folate into a very small, very cheap package. A single cup of cooked lentils contains roughly 18 grams of protein. That's comparable to many animal-based protein sources, and it comes paired with fiber, which slows digestion and helps regulate blood sugar. Why does blood sugar regulation matter for your legs? Because chronic high blood sugar, even below the level of diabetes, damages nerves and blood vessels over time. This is called peripheral neuropathy when it affects the nerves in the extremities, and peripheral artery disease when it affects the blood vessels. Both of these conditions are most commonly felt first in the legs, as tingling, numbness, weakness, pain, and reduced circulation. Lentils, because of their high fiber and protein content, produce a very low glycemic response. That means they don't spike your blood sugar. They keep it stable. And stable blood sugar means less damage to your blood vessels and nerves over time. Lentils are also one of the best sources of iron in any plant-based food. Iron is essential for making hemoglobin, the protein in your red blood cells that carries oxygen. Low iron means your red blood cells can't carry enough oxygen to your muscles, and that translates directly into fatigue, weakness, and poor muscle performance. And folate, which lentils are extremely rich in, is a B vitamin that supports the production of new red blood cells and helps protect your blood vessel walls from damage. For people who are eating less meat, or who want to reduce their animal protein intake, lentils are one of the most important foods they can eat to maintain leg strength and overall health. Cook them in soups, stews, curries, or even just plain with some olive oil and herbs. Now, here is what I want you to take away from all of this. Your legs are not separate from your heart. They are not separate from your brain. They are not separate from how long you live and how well you live. The muscles, the circulation, the nerves, the joints in your lower body, they are all connected to every other system in your body. And when you neglect them, through poor diet, through long hours of sitting, through not giving your body the nutrients it needs, the effects ripple outward in ways that most people never trace back to the source. Eggs for muscle protein and leucine, beets for blood flow and nitric oxide, sardines for omega-3s, calcium, and cellular energy, sweet potatoes for potassium, complex carbs, and circulation, walnuts for magnesium, anti-inflammatory fats, and arterial health, lentils for stable blood sugar, iron, and muscle fuel. These 6 foods are not a magic cure, nothing is. But they are some of the most evidence-backed, practical, accessible things you can do starting today, not next month, not after the new year, today, to give your body what it needs to stay strong, stay mobile, and stay alive longer. You don't need to eat all 6 of them every single day. You just need to start making them a regular part of how you eat. Replace some of what isn't serving your body with these foods, and over weeks and months you will notice the difference. More energy, less stiffness, better endurance, clearer thinking, because all of those things trace back to the same root: your body getting what it actually needs. If this video gave you something to think about, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.